Hello, everyone. My name is Ian, and I'm going to take you through my Azami Lady of the Scrolls EDH deck. She's a 5 mana, 0/2 wizard that lets you tap untapped wizards to draw cards. So, what the deck does is it uses her innate card advantage engine to find one of our many combos and then hopefully win one off of those combos and use for protecting. There are 28 basic islands, just so you guys at home know. I don't really expect that any of you are going to be building off of this list exactly, but I'm running 2 fetch lands just because they kind of help if you're drawing crap to cycle that crap away. Hopefully. Hopefully. Tulare West, it can tutor for pretty much for land mostly, for utility lands like Riptide Laboratory. This lets us balance our wizards at instant speed, which is very helpful, and it lets us reuse enters the battlefield effects and such. Reliquary Tower, it gives us an unlimited hand size, which is obviously useful because this deck can find so many cards. You get to see so many cards with this deck. Terrain generator, it's just kind of in here because you do find a lot of lands when you're drawing a lot. So this is kind of like mono blue ramp. It's not good, but it helps. And then we have Darksteel Citadel and Seed Synod. We do have a Trinket Mage in here so that he can find these if you need to. Then we're going to go into kind of, I guess you could call it ramp. It's really not, but Soul Ring, pretty obvious and fairly necessary in this mono blue deck. Stony Brook Banneret, she makes her wizard spells cost 1 less. Not really ramp, but it helps in the mana department. And she's a wizard, so you can tap her to Azami. Sapphire Medallion, this makes all of our blue spells cost 1 less to play, so it's helpful. Darksteel Ingot, it's indestructible, taps for any colored mana. That's irrelevant because you're only going to be tapping for blue, but whatever. Coalition Relic, kind of also relevant that it taps for any colored mana, but it is relevant that you can put the storage counter on there to kind of baby ramp. Sad Robot finds us a land, draws us a card. He's a chump blocker, so he's pretty cool. Onto the combos. A lot of these combos you'll find in most Azami decks, but the thing that you won't see is 5 different combos in one deck normally. So we're just going to start off with the Palinchron combo. You have one of your mana doublers. So this is High Tide, doubles your mana for the turn. Or Cage Sun, and Gauntlet, which do it permanently, doubling your mana. Or, alternatively, you can use Phantasmal Image and copy Palinchron. This guy comes in, he untaps 7 lands when he comes into play, and he has a 4 mana bounce ability. And pretty much what happens is you tap 7 lands for 14 mana, or if you just have him in play and are using Phantasmal Image, you tap 7 lands, and then you use the extra mana that you have from playing him or playing Phantasmal Image to bounce it, whichever one you're using to your hand. And then you could just do that an infinite amount of times, get infinite mana, and infinite storm count. And then you pump that infinite mana into either Capsize, which just wipes everybody's board, or Blue Sun Zenith. In a multiplayer game, you have to kind of do a workaround where you draw out your entire deck, and then you just play Azami if she's not already in play, and then draw this because it gets shuffled back in your library, which i.e. it becomes your library pretty much, and then you do that same process and draw everybody else out. Or you can use your infinite storm count to use Lightning Greaves, Pacifism, Brain Freeze. I don't actually own a Brain Freeze yet, so and I haven't bought anything online lately, so it's on my next order. But Brain Freeze, it's 2 mana, and it mills someone for 3, and it has Storm. So you have infinite Storm count, so you get to use that to mill everyone but you out. The next combo is Future Top combo. You need a mana reducer, like Ethereum Sculptor or Helm of Awakening, to make top absolutely free. This also helps outside of the combo to make our stuff cheaper. So there is usefulness in some of these combos outside of the combo pieces outside of the combos. So then you have top, and it's free, yip-de-doo, but then you need either Future Sight or Magus of the Future, which allow you to look at it. You reveal the top card of your library always, and then you can play it whenever the heck you want, or well, whenever the heck you could have already. So top's free, so you get to draw a card, put it on top, then you go, hey, I'm gonna play top for free, and then you just do that as many times as you want until you find you can use that to find Brain Freeze. If your opponent isn't running Eldrazi Lords, or you can just find another combo with it. The next combo is probably one of my favorites, even though it's the weakest. It's Tunnel Vision combo. So use Vendilion Click, or Spell Crumple, or Spin of the Myth, which are all good outside of the combo, just so you know. To put something on the bottom of your opponent's library that you know the name of, that's not a land, and then you use Tunnel Vision. And when you play this, if it doesn't get countered, pretty much that card that you put on the library, bottom of their library, becomes their library. So it's pretty hilarious. They have a turn to deal with you, to kill you, or deal with their situation, or else they lose. Next is Teferi Lock. If you have these two cards, nobody else can play spells for the rest of the game. So then they can aggro you, which is kind of scary still, but you can just bounce all their stuff to the hand. The last combo is kind of like not really used. Most people use Temple Bell with Mind Over Matter, but I use Riptide Director and Jace's Archivist just because you get more cards, so you can pitch cards a lot more easily to tap down all your opponent's lands before you actually like go off and kill them, so that they don't like draw into their things that can disrupt your combo and then just go, hey, I don't lose. So Mind Over Matter, good outside of the combo. Lets you discard your cards to untap your stuff. And this is how you don't kill yourself and kill everyone else. You just shuffle your graveyard into your library. So those are the combos. Moving into more bounce stuff. This can help with us bouncing our own stuff if we need to reuse it or to save it or whatever, or to bounce other people's stuff. Vidalcan Art, Mastermind. It's 2-mana wizard. It has a tap ability, so it's kind of sad that you can't use him to tap to Azami if you want to use his ability, but he saves our stuff or lets us reuse it. Either Adept, she's a Mana War wizard. She's very good. She bounces whatever we need her to. Equilibrium lets us pay 1 extra mana whenever we play a creature to bounce any creature to their owner's hand. So it's pretty helpful. We can bounce other people's big stuff that is trying to aggro us to death. Cloudstone Curio, signed by C.J. Boyd. If you don't know who he is, it really doesn't matter because he's an amazing bassist that I don't expect you to know. But Cloudstone Curio helps us bounce our wizards when we play wizards to get more tap triggers off of them. Surge Spanner, he synergizes with Azami because when you tap him to draw a card, you get to pay 2 to bounce any permanent to its owner's hand. So it's pretty cool. And then we've got Venser. Venser lets us put permanents in people's hands. You can bounce spells too. Like if they're stupid and won't tap out for a Gen Wave, you can just go, hey, look, I'm going to play this Venser. Or another kind of gimmicky thing you can do is play him at end of your opponent's turn, and then tap him in response to his bounce trigger, and then bounce him to your hand. Onto our tutor and our 2 extra draw cards. We only have 2 because Azami is pretty sufficient. But Ponder lets us look at the top 3 and we can shuffle our library if we don't like it. So it's kind of helpful. Seagate Oracle lets us dig down 2 cards and it's a wizard, so you get to tap to draw cards. Expedition Map finds Reliquary Tower, finds Riptide Laboratory, finds whatever else we might need. Mystical Tutor. This finds most of our combo pieces to various combos. It's very good. So is Merchant Scroll, although it's a little bit less helpful. Vidalcan Ether Mage lets us find any wizard that we want in our deck. Fabricate lets us find artifacts. There are actually quite a few relevant artifacts that this can find, so it isn't just kind of an awkward duckling. Treasure Mage also, he can find Cage Sun, he can find Knowledge Pool, he can also find Duplicant, which I'll show you later. Trigger Mage, he finds other things like Top and our artifact lands or whatever, so he's pretty good too. Drift of Phantasms, transmute for 3. Lets us find quite a few of our pieces. If we have Tunnel Vision in our hand, we can find Vendil and Click, or we can find, Spell Crumple. There's quite a few things that this can find, so it's pretty good. And then last but not least, we have Tezzeret. He kind of acts as a pseudo Garruk in this deck with our artifact lands and Soul Ring and such. And he also tutors up artifacts, so our top or whatever we need. On to kind of the protection, or well, more just like counters and such. We've got Logic Knot. It's foily, so it's cool. This is pretty good just because a lot of our stuff we're not going to reuse, like random lands and stuff that get pitched into our yard. We don't really care, so this is practically a counter spell. Hey look, counter spell. Very good card. Arcane Denial, me and my friends have kind of found out that this, usually when you counter bombs with this, which is kind of what you want to counter, your opponent isn't going to draw into more bombs. They're just going to draw into like ramp and lands and stuff, usually. So the likelihood of drawing into more bombs is not that high, so it's kind of like a third counter spell. Dissipate, this is just kind of to screw over my graveyard decks that I have to play against. Like my Carador or my own Shroom or my friend's Neoplasm deck. Forbid, we draw lots of cards, so it's pretty easy to buy this back. It's a cancel that comes back, so it's pretty good. Airtie, he's kind of just like a counter on a stick. He's also a wizard, so he can tap if we don't have to counter anything that turn. Patron Wizard, he's very good because he lets you turn all of your wizards into force spikes by tapping them. So he's pretty neat. Rewind, we tap 4 to play it, and then we get 4 mana untapped again. And the last piece is the Sage of Fables, Glenelender Archmage Counterwall. Sage of Fables is good all by itself because it gives all of our wizards +1/+1 counters when they come in, and then you can remove those to draw cards. And then she's all good by herself. She's like negate on a stick. But what's really cool is when you have them together because you just have a negate counterwall. On to the last little piece of the deck. It's just kind of like random cards that I didn't really know how to put them into. We have Meekstone. This can be found by Trinket Mage, and it shuts down aggro strategies a lot of the time. This helped me to win a game the other night with 2 life, so it was pretty cool. Relic of Progenitus, Tutorable Grave Hate, like I've said before, need that. Taiga, he helps us, he flashbacks our counter spells, our random utility spells, whatever we need tutors. He's very good, and we can reuse him. Sigil Tracer, this is just kind of in here because I wanted it to be. It's a really fun card because we get to use it to replicate counter spells or kill spells. Spell Sage, he's just kind of in here for Mind Over Matter to get card advantage. Opposition, shuts down aggro. And Duplicate, gets rid of creatures. I hope you liked this Azami list. I hope it was helpful. Please comment on the or go to my thread at MTG Salvation. Happy building.